All right, single malt Scotty went cheese. I gotta see. I might not be on this episode. I gotta take a tally of who voted for what.
Well, it doesn't, I mean, you're on it now.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Oh, you fucking cheater!
I tricked him into speaking. Everybody,
Sons of bitches. Oh
oh
Christ!
my lord!
Adaxius went ice cream. Of course that fucker did. All right, my F word count is up to at least 2 or 3 already, and we're like 20 seconds in. So this is gonna be a good one.
Yep. Fantastic. This is Oh, I mean, yeah, we can do it. This is the Loose Screws podcast. We kind of it's just Chig and myself. I'm Trax. That's Chig.
Just the two of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's who knows? Maybe somebody will drop in later, but we saw nobody was here, and we just said, "Let's go."
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we're just gonna chit chat. We're just gonna chit chat about whatever we feel like.
Just gonna chit chat.
Yep.
Chit.
Chig chat. Chig chit chat.
Chit chat. Well, I'm on Chig chat right now, totaling getting the actual results. I believe this election was rigged. But
of the results of the poll, I'll tell you what.
Ice cream versus cheese.
We'll let the theme music run, and then when we get back from that, you will have totaled it up.
That means I can count fast. I don't know if I can count fast.
It also means I could just edit it to make it seem like you can count fast. I gave you an out.
The magic of the interwebs. So is the theme music done playing? I don't know how any of this works.
Do you want it to be?
It's magic. It's magic to me. I don't know, man.
It is if you want it to be.
Did you at least say the date and which episode we're on or anything? I mean, I don't even know where we're at.
No, I didn't say anything. Okay, so let's pretend we're back now from the music. So this is episode 180. It's the 17th of April in 2023/3309. As I said, it's just Chig and Trax. That's all you get.
Yeah, it's
for all your
Trax show. We're going to talk about guitars and shit. Wait, that's the wrong one.
No, wrong one. No, we're just going to talk about whatever. I mean, what are you thinking about, man? What's on your mind?
I don't know. Should I?
Wait, did you total up the thing? Because I said you were totaling up the thing.
There's too much. They talked about a lot of stuff in Chig Chat this week. So,
oh, really?
I'm trying to. I'm going to say cheese won. And if anybody wants to dispute that, go to Chig Chat, run your own fucking total. But this was my election, my voting rules, and cheddar cheese and American cheese, any cheese on apple pie came out. I mean, it was a landslide. It was not even close. That's why I'm still on the show.
All right. Chig remains on the show. The people have spoken. I will say, for my part, you voted. I love
one vote in each column, you cheater.
I mean, I feel like I did the right thing though. Like let's be real. But so I've loved a ice cream on apple pie, especially when it's warm. Obviously, I feel like that's not in dispute. However, and I've never tried cheese on apple pie. However, I have made several dishes that involved baked apples and cheese that weren't pie, and they're delicious. One of them involves rice too and stuff. So anyway, I can see, I fully expect that one day when I try cheese on apple pie, it will be fantastic, and I'm not worried about it at all.
Well, I think any charcuterie platter worth its salt has some apple slices on it, and some grapes and stuff.
Right.
And you take a piece of apple cheese with that the contrast is amazing. Especially a good green apple is amazing. Yes,
nice tart.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever we set up a fancy cheese plate, which is, I mean, I'm just a normal
2-3
American,
times a day.
So two or three times I was going to say 2 or 3 times a week. I don't have it multiple meals. Oh yeah, I mean, I welcome our interrupting robot, Commander Data, the first interrupting robot. Oh wait, he just joined the other recording. Okay.
I'm fixing a cheese plate. That's what I said.
Yep, right now.
Right now, your face deep in a cheese plate?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Well, it's not the Trax and Chig show anymore. Now it's the Tracks, Chigs, and Data show. Woo-hoo. We're just talking about. Well, you know what we're talking about. We're just recapping. And the results are in. I think there might have been some voting machine tampering, but Chig has told me that
stop spreading the big lie. Cheese won, fair and square.
Cheese won by a landslide, and it was not the other way around at all.
Yep.
You know, so there.
And if you were on the wrong side of that, you know, God have mercy on your soul. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Right.
Ew.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Uh-oh, conflict in the ranks.
Wait, what was it? What was it cheese on?
Cheddar cheese on apple pie.
Oh, no. Team ice cream, baby.
Well, that one vote does not tip the scales, people.
Okay.
It's still a landslide.
The point is, Chig is still a cast member on the show.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Because of your very, very good votes for cheese.
Yes.
I was offered singles on barbecue sandwiches for the first time yesterday, which I did not accept that.
What is wrong with you? That. Seriously, you're not Data. Are you Dubs?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't this how this started? This was the burger without cheese?
Oh,
wait.
Burger with cheese only that I made.
Oh, that's what it was. It was cheese only, huh?
Plain,
okay. Well, I'm creating controversy where none existed.
That's good. It drives
we can argue about anything.
Yeah.
So here's how this is going to go. We're just going to talk about whatever we want. I don't feel qualified to. Do you think they even updated the squad update info for us? I have no idea.
I don't know.
So we're just going to do whatever we want.
This would be a potpourri.
A nice meandering kind of episode. All right, well, let's do that. Let's give them so much elite content. They're going to be like, guys, go back to talking about gibberish. Let's try to just talk about so much random elite crap that nobody.
So much. I do sincerely have some. I feel inspired to talk about elite. You know, man. And that's a completely serious thing that I'm saying right now.
No, let me get into that for 1 minute. Let me just tell you why I'm inspired to talk about elite a little bit. We've got a new short-term Discord person or short-time Discord person. What do we go with? Is it long time?
Do we have time?
Yeah,
it was long time. Yeah, so short time.
Long time, short time. So long. We have a new short-time Discord person who's been on here quite a bit lately, and it was a Tissier. Is that what we decided? Is that what he confirmed? He's a newer player to the game, and he's been getting involved a lot, and he's been asking a lot of interesting questions and stuff that has got me thinking about some of the stuff that we haven't talked about on the show in quite a while. And he's been very active in the Discord and very helpful. I mean, he sent SOHCAHTOA a power supply, I guess, because SOHCAHTOA's computer was, I don't know, struck by lightning or something. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm never sure. I'm sure that his computer was not a meta build by any stretch of the imagination. But
he memed the power supply for the lulz.
No, he did have a surge or something that exploded some capacitors or something like that. Yeah.
But having a new person who's newer to the game and asking a lot of cool questions, I love when that happens. So, if you're new to the game and you want to come hang out on our Discord, come join us, because this guy's actually, I feel, has invigorated the Discord a little bit. It is. It's fun, and we're trying to help him out. Like me and Bork were both like trying to give him credits, and he took like 100 million or something from Bork. He's like, no, I want to kind of make my own way in this game, and we were just trying to give him credit so he doesn't have to worry about that.
We put him in a fighter the other night while we fought some Thargoids, and that was good. Okay. Good small pile of millions for him.
Yeah. Now, do we want to talk about that last night a little bit?
Well, I there's a lot to what's been going on. Oh God, I don't know. Data, what's been up with you? I haven't talked to you in a while, whereas I've talked to Chig a bunch. So I want to circle back to Data, and then we'll all be on the same page.
Yeah, I am still not able to make it down to the PC very much for gaming in the evenings.
Still breastfeeding heavily.
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
Awesome.
So let's see. I finished Hollow Knight. That's a great game.
That one, you said that like a month ago when you were on the show.
Okay,
I'm
sorry.
pretty sure the
Time
last
is
time
a
you were on,
blur.
you were.
I'm pretty sure
Time is
that's
no
3
meeting.
times.
I ponied up the bucks for the Nintendo Switch Online
I have that, yeah.
premium version
Yeah,
that
oh,
gets
yeah.
you all the old game systems. So
Oh,
I've been
yeah,
messing around a lot
sweet.
with those.
It's badass.
Yeah. So I played through most of the classics. I think I'm going to spend some time in Super Metroid on the SNES. I love that.
Positively fantastic game.
I love that rewind feature, like on all the modern
yeah.
games.
Cheating
Like on
little
emulators.
bastard. I don't
Yeah.
do it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nope, I'm old school, so it made like Ghosts and Goblins insanely frustrating because I refused to use the rewind feature. But all right,
Yeah. It does not work on the Nintendo 64 games. Played a little bit of Super Mario 64. I guess that's just too much power for the Switch to be able to rewind.
I'm sure that the Nintendo 64 was more powerful than the computer that just died on Lark Shadow.
Oh,
I love you, Lark.
What I just did today, in anticipation of the new Zelda coming out next month, I finally beat Breath of the Wild, the main campaign of that game, which was fine. It was fine.
oh, really? You don't think it's like the most fantastic damn thing in the universe? Because everybody else seems to.
I liked most of it. I thought most of it was fantastic. I tried to avoid combat as much as I could. I did not like the fighting things in that game, but just running around and climbing over everything and trying to cheese your way through all the map.
But I mean, like that's you know considered a really really good game. But isn't like Ocarina of Time like universally considered like the greatest video game of all time, where things reach their peak, and we should have just quit inventing games at that point?
I think that one is often on the list. I think it's definitely it's commonly regarded as being, well, I don't know. See, I liked A Link to the Past. I liked the Super NES Zelda. I think that was peak. It was one of the peak games of that era, and I think it remains high on the list.
I don't know, the original Zelda with the VR mod you can do right now.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's just ridiculous. It is. I can't believe somebody took the time to do it, to tell you the truth. I'm not saying it's great fun, but it's
So does it look like
great
Doom?
fun.
Like, how does it even
Kinda.
look in
No,
first person?
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. But they've got the sword like attached to your controller and everything, so you can sort of direct it. It's not just like up, down, left, right. And I think, generally speaking, the monsters are like Doom. They're like 2D sprites.
Yep.
But the environments are 3D, and they did some clever things with like the overworld map. There's areas that like you can't reach, and it's all pictured flat. But in this, you can sort of see some height. So they've used that to kind of infer what it might have been. And so like some things you're sort of climbing up a hill in order to reach, and things like that.
Yeah, I've got like
Find some
hour
YouTube
into it.
videos of it. Yeah, I haven't installed it or anything, but I've seen a YouTube video of what's going on there, and it was pretty clever.
It's unlike any VR experience I've had. I'll just put it that way. It's definitely different.
Yep. Let's see. I've been having a lot of fun with Super Mario World on the SNES. The wife and I are playing through that one.
Nice.
Having a good
Together?
time.
Nice.
Yeah. The rewind feature really comes in handy.
Also regarded as one of the best games
Are you
ever.
taking a shot at your wife's gaming ability?
It helps it be more fun.
Your wife doesn't listen to the podcast either. Good.
She doesn't know I'm on a podcast.
She does not
that.
know what podcast is.
Yeah. That's been about it. I want to try, they just added Pokemon Stadium to the N64 emulator. That's the game I always wanted when it was out. at the time, and I never had an N64, so I'm excited to try that one out. It might be awful, but
I've never gotten into any
try it.
Pokemon ever. I tried Pokemon
I don't understand
Go
the
briefly.
attraction.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yep. I was a red. Yeah, I was part of that generation, the red and blue.
All right.
Well, it's one way to handle it.
That's why you don't like cheese on apple pie, apparently.
Sorry.
Hey, now. Don't hack it till you've tried it.
Okay.
I almost
will
said
keep that in
motherfucker, but I
mind.
resisted adding another
I
thing
would-
to
Thank
this
you.
podcast.
I would for
Appreciate it.
sure try that. Anyway,
We've been
anywho.
Have you had home improvement hour yet?
No.
We didn't.
On the show?
You didn't miss much. No. Feel free.
Yeah, we literally didn't
tuck
even do
right
like
in.
our intro of what we did. We were just going to
Yeah.
begin rambling on the day, and now you got here, so we're just letting you go,
And
man. Go.
When I started talking when I joined, I didn't even realize you all were recording already. I was just like, oh, hey. What's up? Wallpaper. It should
All
never
right,
be,
here we go.
should be
Wallpaper.
outlawed. Yep.
It's bad
And
stuff.
those who put it up should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's my thesis statement.
That's a fact.
there.
Whoever invented it should die. I agree.
Especially when people put a layer on top of a layer.
On top of a
then-
layer, on top of a layer of paint, on top of a
no.
layer. Yeah, it gets crazy.
And the original layer directly on the drywall without like, paint underneath. So you
Oh
can't
my
take it
God.
off. It's awful.
well, then why do you think
that's
they
why-
put a layer over it,
Exactly.
over another layer? Because
Yeah.
The alternative was putting a layer of sheetrock down.
Yeah. So that's what we did in one room. We just knocked the drywall out
There you go.
and replaced it. But I'm going to try painting over that lower layer on this room.
It's gonna be a time.
Yep. That's all I have to report at the moment. I got a wallpaper steamer, one of those power steamer things, and I burnt myself pretty good with that.
Oh no.
Big glop of water splashed out of it and landed on my hand.
Oh my God.
So,
well,
yeah,
that's what
safety
you get
first,
for
kids.
wallpapering.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Wait. I'm unwallpapering.
Unpapering, yeah. Whoa. I don't know what to do with that. All right.
That's all I have.
All right. Well, I have a kind of a lot of story. I don't know how. I really feel like I need to be put under control here as far as how much I'm going to talk about this. But so here's the deal.
Are you going to get
keep
into
an eye on
VR
you.
right now?
Right
keep an eye on
after.
you.
I mean, is it? Yeah. I mean, should I or should I?
All right, we're
Anyway.
just rambling. We're free
We're
flowing
just rambling.
tonight.
We're
Just
free
go
flowing.
with it.
We are gonna eventually. I'm gonna drop into a Blame the Bard Tin Hadium Express segment, and then we'll talk about some Elite stuff. But for now, I mean, this is basically Elite
Well,
stuff.
Tinhadium Express, I just want to say something real quick. He
Yeah.
dropped a spoiler on us on that because he knows that we don't listen to it. And that spoiler really doesn't. I don't know what to take from that. I don't know what to expect from his Tinhadium tonight.
I know. I was thinking when he said he said what he said, and
Yeah.
he labeled it a spoiler, and I thought,
What?
I have no idea what this means. I don't see how that I don't see how
Yeah,
it
I
can be a
can't.
spoiler if I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah, so
excited.
we'll see
for
what
that 'cause-
happens.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Should we give the viewers the spoiler before he?
No way.
And I
He
said
didn't.
viewers,
He
the
put that in a
listeners?
private channel. He didn't want that
He
shared.
did.
No
All
way.
right, all right, all right.
No way.
That's fine. Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I last week I was not on the show. The day after the last one I recorded, I go to do a normal stream on a Tuesday, and it's unbelievably high levels of crashing. And it's been sort of getting like this for me, and I'm pretty sure it was Oculus that was crashing and not Elite. You know what I mean? Just the way it was happening. And it was just getting more and more frequent. I couldn't play for but a few minutes without it crashing out. And eventually I just quit to flat screen and everything was fine the rest of the night. So I poked at it a little more. My Rift S has died. It's not, doesn't stay functional. It keeps basically the Windows error report thing keeps saying like hardware failure, disconnect, and then one of the three pieces of Oculus server software would quickly follow it with a hard crash.
You badmouth Facebook just one too many times.
Yeah, I mean, but so it's annoying me, and I wanted to get away from Oculus anyway because I think their whole software stack is is garbage and very controlling and it works in like the least efficient way that you would ever want to set up VR. But I got like 4 years out of the thing, so whatever, it's fine. So I decided to pick up a Pico 4 headset.
Pikachu. No, wrong thing. Never mind. Wrong thing.
So which is not available in North America, not for sale in North America, probably because Pico is owned by ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok, and it's a
giant Chinese conglomerate.
It's a huge Chinese thing, and there's a bunch of like, I don't know, people think there's security concerns about it, and the CEO was like called before the United States Congress and grilled about things, and frankly, I think his answers were pretty good, but whatever. I don't care. I don't really want to get. No, I investigated a synopsis, more or less.
Investigated a synopsis.
I did not watch C-SPAN.
You don't have to trick people into giving up their personal information. They'll just give it to you. on these
well,
apps.
I mean, I'm not... Okay, whatever. I'm not going to defend ByteDance. I'm not interested in getting involved with another social media company that owns a hardware thing. Like, I was actually sort of... That's why I wasn't really wanting to leap at getting this headset. I just think it's kind of the best one for what I need right now I'm actually able to get. So anyway,
I'm having a hard time doing it
and,
just because of the company's name, ByteDance. It's just, it just bothers me. I don't know why.
Yeah. Hey, so I get one. Basically, you can buy them brand new from eBay sellers who have gotten them shipped from overseas. And anyway, so it's fine. You can also, I think, get them from like UK Amazon, but they go in and out of stock, and they weren't at the time. So, and I'm not sure what would be an easier return if there was a problem with it anyway, but it's fine. So I got it about a week later, and I've been putting it through its paces and getting everything going. And, you know, there's some things about it that are a pretty different experience, but overall it's a lot nicer than the Rift S was. It's almost kind of double the screen resolution, and it has these pancake lenses, which are so light and thin, and the whole thing is, the battery's on the back, and it's really well balanced, and it's just, I mean, it works great as a wireless thing. You got to use the virtual desktop type of deal in order to play PC games on it. But it works really good. I have Google Wi-Fi here at the house. I have their mesh routers. When I first plugged it in, I just tried it on that, and it worked fine. Though I did set up a dedicated router for it anyway, because if people were at the house and watching TV, it might get a little crowded. But I've not had a lick of trouble with getting it to work Wi-Fi at all. It takes a little getting used to compared to the Rift that was a DisplayPort. It was like a direct lossless video on DisplayPort right to the headset. So this is compressed video that's then streamed to the headset and decoded by the headset. So you can see that a little bit, and that takes a little getting used to. I think Elite is sort of the worst game for that almost, because Elite is so resolution intensive. Mm-hmm. It's not like games that are really kind of developed for VR, you know, that are like standing games that are played with controllers and stuff like that, which you quickly lose the ability to discern that it's a compressed video. And being able to play those games wirelessly without having a cord hanging over my shoulder and worrying about stepping on it and stuff like that when I turn around is absolute magic. I imagine a lot of people out there have had like the Quest 2 for several years now, and I have not. I have been stuck because I did not want to buy another Oculus product because I hate them and I think they're very bad, and I don't like what they've done with any of their software or anything like that in their business practices. But I'm not saying ByteDance is necessarily a better company, but they, at least right now, they don't have anything close to market dominance. So they're not doing a bunch of anti-competitive practices and things like that. And I'm not buying software on the thing anyway. I play games from my computer. So this Pico, like, even though it's a standalone headset, When you attach it to your computer, it comes with an app that does the same thing as Virtual Desktop. So it comes with that. You can also buy Virtual Desktop, and
how much is Virtual Desktop?
Right now, I think it's normally 20. Right now, it was 15 on the Pico store. Okay. So that's the only app I'll probably ever buy on the Pico store.
What did you pay for the Pico? With shipping and stuff, what did it come to?
Shipping was free. After tax, I think it was about $460 US. Okay. It was $430 was their sell price.
Okay.
It was the smaller version, the 128 gig. It took only like 3 days to get here. It was coming from New York.
Okay.
And I think everybody who's tried it says, comments how comfortable it is. It's very light and well balanced. The lenses look great. They're super wide. They're very flat. Fresnel lenses that these other headsets have, and the PSVR 2 inexplicably still has, even though it just came out this year. It's just a much bulkier thing. I think that just the distance between the lens and the screen has to be much further, and the size of the screen is different and things like that. But that type of lens also causes these sort of streaky ray artifacts. And, it's not like it's crazy bad, but these are the sorts of artifacts that you see if you're playing something and there's like a bright light source against a dark background. With Fresnel lenses, you'll get this streaking and stuff. That doesn't happen with pancake lenses, but there's a different thing. There's this sort of blooming that will happen if there's a bright light near the middle of your field of view. And it will tend to almost give it this sort of halo-ish kind of look. Doesn't really interfere with anything. It's just it's what you notice if you're coming from a Fresnel lens headset to a pancake lens headset. It's sort of a different kind of artifact. I would gladly trade any day of the week. I think this is much, much better than Fresnel lenses. The comfort alone, I played for several hours. What did we play for? 2 or 3 hours. And I was not adjusting the headset on my face constantly, really? Which I always was with Rift S, because it's pulling on your face. It's very front heavy, and it's, this thing just sits on there, and it's so damn light. It's really great. And the speakers aren't bad on it. The only thing, so if I had any complaints,
no headphone it would jack.
It's only got one port. There's one USB-C port. It's for charging and data and everything. You can stream to it data-wise by USB with a USB 3, although it's still compressed video. It's not a display port. So it would be essentially, like, at the price point, it would basically, I think, be a perfect headset if it had the ability to take actual display port through that connector, so that if you wanted to go wired, you didn't have to use compressed video. And or the other thing is, if it had a headphone jack, I think they kind of should have a headphone jack at this point. It seems like a really cheap piece of equipment to throw on there.
Isn't there Bluetooth on board on that, or am I thinking of a different
but
headset?
Bluetooth has latency. Like, you really have to kind of spend a lot on very specific Bluetooth headphones before you get some that have low enough latency for gaming. And there is a pair of earbuds that are advertised as working really well with these kinds of headsets. But that's basically for if you're playing games that are on the device. So using it for what it's for, as a standalone VR headset, and I'm streaming from the computer. So there's already like between 30 and 50 milliseconds of latency, depending on what's going on and what kind of game it is and stuff like that. You're already kind of battling with that to a certain extent. So adding any more really starts to stretch things out. So I'm not really interested, but I think the inbuilt sort of, it's one of these that has kind of, the speakers are built into the headband. They are doing some kind of audio processing on them. There's an option to switch it on and off in the menus there, and it does some kind of compressing and spatial thing, I can tell. I think it's quite nice. I played lots of games just with the headset itself, like standing room games, and I think it sounds quite good, considering I don't have headphones on my ears. For Elite, when I'm sitting here, I've got no reason not to plug into the computer, which does help the battery drain slower, as well. So I'm planning on, I actually worked out how to do it and everything, but I had these headphones that I got for my Rift S that clipped onto the head strap. They don't fit this head strap, but I made myself a little clip that perfectly adapts them to this headset, and I'm just going to reuse them because that's what I've been using for ages. And I need to, like, when I'm playing Elite, I have like a microphone in my face. I do streaming, and I have, well, I'm not using like a headset mic. I need to keep the bleed out of this mic and the game audio out of it. And so, with all that, it's much easier for me, if I'm seated anyway, to just run a wire into the thing. So I'll run a headphone wire from my computer rather than running a headphone wire from the headset, which would have additional latency because it needs to stream that over whatever connection I'm using, and et cetera, et cetera. So, but I don't know. I think it's really good, and I didn't really have to jump through any hoops, considering it's not available here. Like I said, I ordered it from somebody who had already shipped it in, and the only thing I bought is virtual desktop. The store didn't seem to have any problem with me using being in the United States. I actually, now that I think of it, I wasn't allowed to select the United States as where I am when I set up my account. I told them I'm in the UK because I was like,
phony.
I guess I don't
You're
care.
A phony.
But I entered, I put a credit card into the thing in order to pay for a virtual desktop app, and put my billing address for the credit card, and it was like, that's fine.
Yeah,
cool.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
So there wasn't anything weird I had to do. I can't download the phone app, which you could use to do things like monitor, or you could buy things on the phone app and then they would be downloaded to your headset, like things like that are probably a feature for a headset like this. I can't do that unless I would have to go into my Apple settings, I guess, or and tell it I'm in a different region. Android people could probably use a VPN, but that doesn't work for Apple because the App Store works on your settings and not where your connection is. But that's not really a problem because I'm not doing any of that anyway.
Okay, 2 questions. Because obviously you didn't order any prescription lenses yet. How does it work with your glasses inside of it?
Well, I actually did order prescription lenses. They're not here
you
yet.
hadn't yet. That's what I'm saying. Is
I was trying it out and making sure I liked the headset and was going to keep it, for before. But it fits perfectly over my glasses. And y'all know I have fairly large glasses on my face.
Oh, yeah, you're a giant
they're
nerd.
Fine. Huge nerd.
Yeah.
With huge glasses to account for that. But they fit in fine. It's the ergonomics of the headset are great for glasses, and it's going to be even better when I don't have them because it comes with a spacer that fits into the facial interface to give it a little more room. I'll be able to take that out and get a greater field of view.
Oh, wow. Okay. Second question.
Because right now,
everybody knows who's listened to the show for any time. The only guy with less impulse control than me when it comes to just spending money willy-nilly is Dubs, and he's not here. But for me, I have, the Rift S. I have a Rift S and I've got a Quest 2, but my wife uses the Quest 2, and so I never really got into the Quest 2. I still use the Rift S, almost exclusively as my VR headset. Is it worth the money to go from your Rift S? Like, if your Rift S hadn't gone, now that you've had the Pico, would you have upgraded?
Well, I have, I think, compared to you guys, astonishing, unfathomable impulse control.
Yeah, it's kind of actually ridiculous. Yes.
I basically even though I hated the Oculus software so much, and the device itself was rather uncomfortable for long periods of time, I was dealing with it because I am kind of frugal and do have a ton of impulse control.
An easier word, one less syllable, it's cheap.
Yeah. Well, also, my wife quit her job at the end of last year and is going back to grad school and stuff. So we don't have like a ton of extra money right now.
Yeah, but you're independently wealthy. Come on. That's why you pay us the big bucks.
Right. That's why I pay the salaries here of all the cast members. Okay, so there are a few considerations. Like, is this something you should upgrade to? I agree with the reviews that this headset is not like a new generation of VR is here. I think it is a clear upgrade from something like a Quest 2, where the comfort and the lenses and the form factor is much better. And I personally, because I don't want to be part of that Oculus meta environment. And I stream games from the PC, even when they're actual VR games like Half-Life and Into the Radius and Beat Saber, whatever. I stream all these things from the computer. I don't play them on the headset itself. So from that perspective, like it works as native Steam VR. Like when I load up the streaming thing, the virtual desktop, it just loads Steam VR. There's nothing in the way like there is with Oculus, where you sort of have two apps feeding into each other, and it's
so
a complete
annoying.
fucking mess.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Because Oculus can't just get out of their own goddamn way and say, like, if you're playing on the store, use our software, and if you're not, then we'll just be an open XR headset. So anyway, this works the way you would want it to for that, and it's great. It is, if you're playing Elite, if you're playing like something that's seated, wireless is not important and actually is kind of a downgrade, because that you will notice that compressed video. Ultimately, I think I can tell that the headset is a lot clearer video and more detailed. The higher resolution lenses and screens and everything else, significantly higher resolution screens. I was super sampling Elite at 1.5 times. So basically using like 50% more pixels in Elite in my Rift S. This headset I'm doing at native resolution in Elite, and the performance is similar. It's really hard to compare headsets because they're not like monitors. Like the resolutions always vary a little bit, and sometimes they're a little taller and some other ones a little bit wider and things like that. It's not just like is it a 2K monitor or a 4K monitor, But I found that like at native, instead of 1.5, I turned a couple of settings down, but I was able to get away with that because I'm not using the AMD FSR thing in Elite. It ends up looking pretty bad through compressed video. So you got that. You got you compared to a wired connection to your computer that is lossless DisplayPort, that picture is really good. Every pixel is a pixel when it gets to your headset. Whereas with this, you're compressing the video with your, the dedicated hardware on your graphics card, right? The NVENC chip is compressing the video and then sending it to the headset, and the headset's decoding it. You get that bit rate. You find the sweet spot of bit rate where it's good enough that it makes the picture look good, but it's not lagging, causing extra latency, and it looks pretty good. But it's not lossless, so you'll notice that right away. Like if you were to compare Rift S to this. But the comfort is way, way better.
Well, I think the biggest really, downfall
the clarity in the field of view is the thing. These lenses have this clarity almost all the way to the edge, whereas with the Rift, there's this sweet spot in the middle. And I don't know, it depends on because that also didn't have IPD adjustment. So if your head happens to be exactly the right width for the Rift S, my eyes are actually a little bit narrow for the Rift S. So I had the very small sweet spot in that where things were really clear. With this, it's like, man, there's room for eye tracking or something to be part of it. This doesn't have eye tracking, but if it did, I'd be able to use it because I can look all around my view and it's clear. So
yeah, I found most of the time in VR, it's turning my head rather than my eyes to look at things. It's stare straight ahead and turn your head.
Yeah, and that's the Fresnel lenses. They have a very narrow spot where it's, and after that it's periphery, and it's you can see it, but it's blurry-ish, and that's like fine. We get used to that. With this, it's like clear for a very wide until you get to sort of the edges of the lens, which is pretty cool. And once you get into the action of a game, you really stop noticing those artifacts. Like I said, as long as you have the bit rate high enough. But I'm using just a Wi-Fi AC router. It's not even a Wi-Fi 6 router. I have no problems. It's perfectly sufficient. It's in the room with me. No other devices are connected to it, and it works great. I can stand in the room. I can spin around. I can do a somersault.
I don't know. Damn it.
It's outstanding in that sense.
What was the name of the eBay seller you used?
There are two that are quite reputable that you'll find right away. They're both in New York. I can tons of reviews for either of them. I would say pick whichever because they have the same price and everything. But I mean, so I think I don't know if you only play Elite.
I don't.
Do you
though.
want to have
No.
wireless? Right. So if you want to be able to play standing games too, then I think it's a significant, huge upgrade from the Rift S. And dealing with the video compression is an acceptable.
Well, I mean, how is Half-Life
thing.
Alyx with the wireless? You try?
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Okay.
So here's my thing. I was actually, just before we were recording this, I was playing a little bit of Into the Radius or something, which is another kind of gun horror-ish game.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, I for years played those games with a cord sort of taped or clipped to my belt and over my shoulder and trying to step over it. And I would routinely like turn my head. If I didn't have to turn all the way around, I'd almost turn my head and play sideways a little bit. And I would, in the back of my mind all the time, I'm thinking about where my cord is so that I don't step on it. And I'll like come into a room and it's like, oh, well, when I go through this room, I'm actually going to spin all the way around to the left because I know I've wrapped my cord around once and I need to undo that turn. That's in my head all the time. Today I'm playing and I ended up stepping close enough to the wall that the little like warning boundary comes up. And I was like, oh, shoot. And I lifted it up real quick and peeked, and I had absolutely no idea where I was in the room. Like I was facing totally not the way I expected to be facing. That has never happened to me before in VR because I've always had this sort of cord touching my ankle kind of thing to keep me centered. And
I
that's
do
really
that,
neat.
the retractable like lanyard shit from the ceiling
On the
for my
ceiling,
headset
yeah.
and stuff. And I have literally wrapped the cord around my neck without realizing it. And then I've gone to like crouch down in a game and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
That's it. I tried that at first too, and eventually I just went back to draping it across the floor because I found, for one thing, it kind of shortens the available cord you have to use because some of it's way up in the ceiling. And when I would, I don't, what I don't do in VR, I don't jump because that's never built into VR games, but you do duck. You do need to duck sometimes. And when I would duck, it would like pull on my headset because I would like hit the end of the cord, or they would be just, even if it was just a little bit of tension. And then I need to adjust the whole damn thing because the stupid Rift S is so weird and it doesn't ever quite fit exactly
like
right
when
in your head.
cord's on the ground, though, you run into that where you duck, but you step on the cord when you duck, and you go to stand up and you're standing on the cord. So, I mean, there's...
And it pulls,
all
that, but that's why I had to keep track of it. And it was like sort of takes you out of
it becomes part of
moment.
the skill, kind of.
Right.
You're kind of keeping track of that cord as you're playing. Yeah.
Exactly. And
that's
thing,
the friction of VR that I want them to get. If the wireless part of that is gone, just being able to put it on and stand up and play a game, it would be huge.
So it's I think this headset is great for that. I think it beats the Meta headsets because you don't have that Oculus software layer. There's nothing running on my computer. There's this tiny app that uses like 1% CPU that is just pretending to be a cable and just telling, basically it's just there telling Steam VR that there is a headset here and it's this resolution. That's it. And so I pick up the headset, I have the virtual desktop app just running on the computer. It's tiny, and then the background, it does basically nothing. I can put on this headset. It has the pass through is good enough that you can see the room pretty clearly. It's like, it's not true depth, but it scans your room really well and like draws the border. It picks the floor out perfectly. Anytime you're using it, you can quickly tap the headset twice on the right side and it'll go into pass-through mode, which makes it much easier. When I was like sharing it with some friends and playing Beat Saber and stuff the other night, it's like getting people to put on the controller lanyards and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, just tap the headset. Oh, now I can see,
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
But
this thing just goes on and off your head easily. And
but you mentioned how it's so much lighter and stuff. I'm looking at a comparison, side by side Rift S versus Pico, and with the head strap on it, it's only 4 grams difference in weight. That's like...
Really?
Yeah.
That's because Rift S actually doesn't weigh very much because it doesn't have a processor in it.
There we
That's
go.
right.
Compared to the Quest 2. There we go. Yeah.
Now, compared to Quest 2, it's significantly lighter, but it's also much more well-balanced. And this is the thing, the battery's in the back. So you put it on and you don't feel like it weighs anything because it's perfectly balanced. Perfectly balanced. I'm telling you.
Perfectly. Could not be. All right.
Wow.
Like I played for the other night we put it on. I took my time kind of getting used to this thing and dialing in my settings for Elite, and because there's resolution options for how strongly you're streaming it to the headset and things like that, and the brightness and contrast and stuff took a little finagling. Elite, I'm pretty picky about that with Elite, obviously, because of the kind of game it is. But I got it all nailed in, and it was starting to work pretty good. And I was like, let's take this out for a spin. Let's go fight Thargoids, put it to the test. And we played for over 2 hours. I don't think I ever adjusted the thing on my face.
Wow.
And I mean, I haven't even ordered an aftermarket facial interface for it yet. It's kind of got a stiff-ish padded cloth one. It's much better than the one that came with the Rift S, but I got an aftermarket one for that that's like faux leather kind of thing, which I'll get for this eventually. But I actually I take my time with this sort of thing. I want to do one change at a time. So I'll get the lenses in there and stop wearing my glasses and see how the facial interface feels. With my glasses, it's perfectly comfortable, but there's light leak around the sides because the frame of my glasses that goes over my ears pushes it out. So once that's gone, I'm already losing myself in it to where I don't know where I'm facing in the room, and that's with light leak, Wow. So I feel like it's going to be great.
Cool. Well, I'll talk about my new
thrilled.
Pico 4 next week, and
I think it's great. If you just want to play Elite, then I don't think you're trading one thing for another. You're trading comfort for much better comfort for a slightly worse picture, probably because of the video compression. It's also, if you're going to run it like super high res, then it technically takes a lot more horsepower to push all those pixels than the Rift did. But like I said, I returned to native sampling, and it seems to be pretty close to the same. The thing about super sampling and the anti-aliasing in Elite is strange. There's something strange about the order that the post-processing effects and special effects like bloom and ambient occlusion and stuff are applied. And in VR, you can see it really clearly. If you try to use low settings for things like bloom and ambient occlusion, they look super blocky and strange in VR. And so, but now that I'm using it at its native resolution, then the effects are rendered at the native resolution, and I'm able to turn those down a little bit, and that gives me a little performance back. And anyway,
I think we've talked about VR for like 25
we
minutes.
killed it.
Yeah, I think we should like get into. Should we go to Bard at this point?
Yeah, let's transition flawlessly and seamlessly into Elite talk. And here we go.
On the board, the Tin Helium Express!
There are only 2 Galnet stories to report on this week. One is referring to the conclusion of a community goal that almost no one cares about, and the other where I discover I missed my calling being a fortune teller. It was supposed to be an April Fool's Day prank, that's all. I guess I was just a few days ahead of Galnet's schedule. No biggie. For those that don't understand, join the Loose Screws Discord and head down to the Lore Corner. Search for the April 1st story that I wrote, then the story published on the 11th. FDev, I want some goddamn recognition. Now here's last week's headlines. April 11th, Salvation Utopia Link raises concerns. And on April 13th, Kane Massey victorious in corporate conflict. Alright, that's all for the news this week. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a crystal ball to consult.
Oh, I get it. Do you guys get what he's talking about?
Nope.
What?
He oh, never mind. I'm not going to spoil it. He said you have to go to the Lore Corner to figure out. Yeah. But one of the stories that he did on April Fools was was fake, but then essentially the same thing actually happened in the game a few days later.
So
anyway.
he was a prophet?
He was a prophet. Yep, that's the idea.
I don't know, a bard that's a prophet? That would be... He'd be singing about the future? Huh.
So since he usually records this like a day or two ahead, and I think was it today or something? But the Galnet article about the people from Aegis went to visit and consult with Pranav and Tal's Utopia project people, the cybernetic consciousness, and they said all this stuff about how it's like a totally different. It's a totally different thing. It couldn't be anything to do with the Nemesis project because we're just saving memories. And they basically, it's this super creepy thing where they make it so everyone experiences everyone else's memories so that we're all one. And it's this very commune kind of thing.
Matrix Zero going on here.
Yeah, exactly. So that went down after Bard recorded it, his thing. But between that and the last episode of Lave Radio, I've just been really sort of pondering. I've actually been pondering this story a bit, and I wondered if you guys would indulge with me a little bit in speculation and what you guys think might happen, or what you guys might want to happen. Maybe more important or more interesting.
Now let's move on to something else. No,
well,
you go.
Okay,
go.
so the Nemesis project thing. So they're doubling down on like Aegis is utterly convinced that even after they've explored the technology and what it might be, that they think Salvation did not put his consciousness inside this thing.
That's exactly what somebody who thinks that Salvation put his consciousness into something would say.
It's like, are they trying to pacify the public? Is it like that? Is it like disinformation, or is it that they're incompetent? Because like,
I mean, it's always been the story that they're incompetent. Right?
Well, they're like a government kind of entity. No, what the hell are they exactly?
Aegis is the Tri-Power Cooperation.
Yeah, that answers the question.
They're a committee. They're the United Nations of Thargoid fighting, right?
So they're bureaucrats.
Thargoid UN.
But they're also supposed to be the most expert people, right? Because that's where all the resources into researching this stuff went. But anyway, that's sort of neither here nor there about with regards to the Nemesis project. But it's just it strikes me that this would be such a wasted. Like if this turned out to be correct, he did not put himself into the Nemesis project. Then like, what is all of this happening for? Why are there these news articles about it?
Yeah,
it
keep having news articles
right?
saying this is not happening. This is not, happening. Just quit fucking talking about it.
Sojin A suggests it, and then they spend months researching it and saying, no way. Then why are we fucking talking about it? Like, I don't buy it. Okay, so here's my thing, and this is good. They were sort of discussing some things related to this on Lave, and it was one of these like I was talking to my earbuds kind of thing while I was listening to those folks, because I had not really been thinking too hard about what was happening in the story. It was like whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I don't want to like get my hopes up about. Originally it starts about features and updates. I don't want to get my hopes up about what it's going to be and then end up disappointed. But it doesn't mean I can't speculate about the story. However, that does eventually chase myself down into I'm thinking about what I would love to see this as the final result of this. So I'm going to lay it out for you. This is sort of an end point where I would think this would be an amazing thing for me. Like this would be my ultimate thing that I can imagine now as the resolution of this whole war and Salvation thing is his Nemesis project thing. Like he's still out there. I think we agree that that's what's going on, right? He's still out there in some form, but it's related to Guardian tech somehow. So he maybe sort of by accident is attached to the Guardian tech and doesn't know how to, it's who knows what it is. It's not even human anymore kind of thing, but it's still technically him, but it's interfaced with the Guardian tech. So that eventually kind of wakes up. And then and I think there's probably like a bunch of steps in between, but this is, like I said, this is my golden endpoint. It wakes up and starts fighting things. It's probably not able to determine that it wants to protect humanity anymore kind of thing, because it itself is too alien anymore, and it's this horrible third enemy of both the Thargoids and the humans, And then we get the whatever crude communication with the Thargoids, and we manage to have, at least with some of the Thargoids or something, maybe they split off into factions, and some of the Thargoids become friendly, and now we are fighting who knows what Guardian hybrid thing that was invented or manufactured by the artificial intelligence that used to be Salvation and is now flying Guardian tech ships, and we're fighting it alongside Thargoid wingmates, basically. The way we have NPCs now, but they're Thargoid ships. I think that would absolutely slay,
but
as
Frankenstein
sort of
was
what's
the
probably
doctor,
a final act
not
for this
the
game.
monster.
What does that have to do with what I said?
I don't know. I'm trying to catch up.
So anyway, I think that would be totally rad. I would love to play, be into this game, and the resolution of the war is essentially this wasn't even ever the real war. The real big problem is coming later, and the Thargoids are kind of going to be on our team by then because it's such a big bad.
That would be cool.
No.
I'm not saying I think it's necessarily likely. I think that would be a technological crazy thing to put into the game. I would be thrilled if it happened. I'm not.
But no, wait. We're ending up
breath.
Let me just try to catch up. Yeah, you've got because you said like one faction of Thargoids breaks off and fights with us, so the other faction we're still fighting against, and we're fighting against Selgardian.
Well, okay, so here's what I think that because it's an open galaxy MMO and not everybody participates. So I think fighting Thargoids never goes away. It has to remain somewhere because they never really take something like that out of a game like this.
Well, they took
so that's kind
VR.
of the only reason. But they didn't. They just didn't put it into the new piece. But anyway, so that's what I mean. That's why I say like maybe some of the Thargoids, because I don't think the Thargoids could ever disappear as an enemy. That would be sad to not have that content anymore.
Yeah, to not murder instead, Thargoids incessantly like we do.
Maybe it would be situational because the Thargoids don't think like people. So they
are people.
Perfectly happy to be our friends contextually. Like when we go into a Salvation AI conflict zone and it's populated by a bunch of Guardian ships that are all simultaneously being flown by this horrible amalgamation that used to be Salvation. In that zone, Thargoid and human NPC ships drop in to fight with us. And then outside of that zone, or off in the Pleiades, or if you ever go to a place where you can encounter Thargoids, they're still the same old thing. Maybe then we go back to, they're the same old thing they used to be, where they might not even be hostile at first.
And how about this? If the Guardians drop in and you have a docking computer on your ship, you're now all just along for the ride, and your ship is fighting on the Guardian side.
Oh, they take over your autopilot? If you have a super cruise assist, you actually become a missile.
There you go. I like it.
No, that would be good. He should be able to. Yeah. Oh,
there are a lot of possibilities because I mean, like anything with Guardian tech, all of a sudden, you got a Guardian FSD
if you have a hybrid
booster.
Module.
Bam! All of a sudden, they've hacked your ship. All kinds of weird shit can happen.
That's kind of Battlestar Galactica. Right?
Very, very much so.
They can't use the ships with the fancy computers because they're hackable.
Yep. So they got to go to the old school. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of directions they can go, and I've quit. I like that you. I mean, Bard is we'll go neck deep. That's a better way of saying that. More PC way of saying it. He's neck deep in this stuff all the time, and you're diving in a little bit. And I hear people discuss this stuff, but literally these articles come out and you start to dig into it, and I want to have faith that they've got a vision and they've got it going one direction. But oftentimes when they do these CGs and stuff, it's so obvious what they want us to do, and it's kind of on the rails. and I hope, I mean, all of us have wanted another enemy, and all of us have wanted for a long time. Remember, like after the Pulse went, we were hoping that was Guardian tech that woke up, that the Maelstroms were Guardian tech coming to life.
But I think it's still, well, the Maelstroms weren't, but I still, that Pulse could have had something to do with.
Exactly. Well, that's just it. A cinematic all of a sudden.
It still could have.
a cinematic where all of a sudden that pulse hit Guardian sites and they just fully lit up and maybe ground started shaking. They came up out of the earth. Would have been just amazing. But instead, we just got what we have right now. So I'll just do like we did last night. We'll just go murder some Thargoids for a few hours and hope we can network together and do our thing.
Oh, well, okay. So to that point, though, you said, sorry, a few phrases ago, you said,
I say a lot of shit.
It's clear that they know, or it's clear that they want us to do a certain thing, like they wanted a particular outcome. I think there have been times when that's true, but they tilt those with slanted rewards or slanted scales of completion and stuff like that. I think there's been a few pretty egregious moments, but I think a lot of times there isn't. And this recent CG, we get a little window into that because by accident, on the day it completes, the article explaining who won came out, but at the same time, by accident, the article explaining that the other team won also came out.
Yeah, I saw that burp hit. No, which space?
Right.
Yep.
Right, exactly. So that's a little window into how the story would have gone.
I see as a window into how incompetent they really are. They released both on accident. But
okay, well that's I mean whatever, that's fine. But like the point is they had stuff ready to go in whichever way it went, and that it shows me. I think it looks like what we talked about a long time ago, which is like it's sort of it's the correct way to do it. I don't want to make it sound like I'm speaking negatively here, but you give your players a false choice as a games master. You give them an actual choice. There is actually two different outcomes, but eventually they're all going to sort of funnel into the same bit of story, just in a different way. It's like a different person's name is on the board, depending on who won, but eventually, the result, it's all going to lead in the same place eventually. It would have been, the assassin's name was revealed and turned out to be this different thing, but now it's going to go this way. And so we're just sort of going to find out the information in a slightly different order, and some different people are going to yell at each other than if it had gone the other way in the intervening steps in the plot, right? But eventually it is going to resolve, and that's the correct way to handle it, right? Because you don't actually write a plot so that your players could create a really boring end game, right? You wouldn't do that. You don't leave that possibility open.
You mean somehow prevent the entire conflict? Yeah.
Yeah, you have multiple paths that all lead to every stage of the conflict happening in an exciting way, even if there are different possible plot points in kind of a, I don't know, it's not really in an immaterial way, but it's a way that doesn't affect whether or not the assets that they've worked on get put into the game, Anyway, the Guardians, something's going to happen with the damn Guardians.
Well, yeah,
I'm just telling you. And now it's Salvation. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a Skynet-like monster.
It's not going to be Salvation. It's going to be his twin brother, Freedom, or something. I have no idea.
Well, I'm picturing, like, I think it would be cool if he isn't even remotely human anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
he's a man bear pig.
He isn't even able to communicate in the same way.
He's like Locutus of Borg. He's like
yes, sleep.
Something. I don't know. The sleeper has awakened. We'll go Dune on it. I have no idea where it's going to go. And honestly, I know that people hate this opinion. I'll just wait and see what happens, and I'll just keep doing what I can in game to have fun. And I play this game just to fly my spaceship, and they jump around so much with this stuff. And like you said, they keep mentioning the Salvation thing. So it's like, well, obviously it's got to be him. What kind of twist they can do to throw us for a loop, I don't know. But right now it does seem kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say predictable, but I don't feel I have any control over it at all. I just waiting for the story to come to me.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing is we complained pretty acutely about when the articles from Aegis come out saying you're supposed to be focusing on the alert systems, and You know,
And we tried.
We've been over that. Well, here's the thing. We tried, and the gameplay sort of sucked. But here's the result. After a couple of weeks later, the Maelstrom near our space, near Loose Screw's space, is Oya. That shit is controlled.
Yeah,
the
fully
Thargoids
under
are
control.
going absolutely nowhere, and you know, Psychit, rest easy. They're not going to go anywhere near Micah's rest because that shit is under control. And we haven't fought Thargoids. Like, for last night, it's the first time I did anything to fight Thargoids. I went to a different Maelstrom because ours is so under control. Loose Screws has been doing basically nothing on the Thargoid front. We've just been working on our own BGS because it's controlled by just other people. We don't even really need that much of a focused effort. They're taking out the alert systems before they can turn into invasions. There are no new invasions. Now we're not taking any space back. And that would take a concerted effort. We'd have to decide, okay, we're going to concentrate on this one control system and try to flip it. But we are turning away every alert that they can throw at us. They're going nowhere. They're gaining no ground. It's over in our space.
Yeah, we like have no... It's almost like we're not even at war in our system, in our local systems right now.
Right, and we had to go to another... I was like, I want to test my thing by fighting Thargoids. I had to go to a different Maelstrom to find an alert system. So that's what's going on in our space. That shit is...
That's a good segue into how
Lockdown.
state of that is going. We went out last night in order to fight some goids, and we had, I don't know who showed up. Boob showed up randomly. Adaxius is there. Tissuye, is that his name? I forget. And the new guy.
I think that's pretty close to
him
right.
in.
The new guy.
Borked was there. Who else was there? I don't
and
remember.
You and me.
And me and you. And we were having a hell of a time. There was another random guy in system that was there, and we were having a hell of a time getting in the same instance with each other for a while there. It was just kind of frustrating.
We were okay at first, and then we accidentally split the instance. Like, I think that other player was in, and one of us dropped in, and then somebody exploded to reload.
No, I died because I left.
You walked away.
Yep, I went downstairs to take care of something in the house, and I was sitting in Super Cruise, and there's a war going on. My ship apparently got pulled, and I got killed. My first death in quite a while, by the way. That was depressing.
So it respawns you in the hangar bay in the station where we were fighting previously.
Yep.
Except, if, of course, whenever that happens, the game unexplainably puts you in a new instance instead of putting you into the same instance where the other players are. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're trying to make sure the landing pad's free because there's only one medium pad. But anyway, yeah, it shunted you off to a different instance. And from that moment, we couldn't get back together until we did the wing dance of, teaming up and then breaking the team and bringing another person in and so on and so on and so on.
We're dealing with the age-old problem of, breaking the team so that somebody could come into multi-crew because we wanted the new guy to try some Thargoid combat.
Exhausting.
It was a little bit frustrating. I mean, it got to the point that
you can do physical multi-crew if you're present, but he wanted to telepresence in, and you can't be in a wing for that. Why? You have to have why.
Yeah, and then end of the night, we decided to just see how much damage Adaxius's shard cutter could do to our ship. So he was shooting us with shards, and it's about 6% of my hull.
The hexa shard
on my mark, whatever the hell it is, Mark II, and then we go to leave, and then we got a little bit of excitement at the end because then as I'm leaving, I'm getting interdicted. I'm at 10% hull, and mind you, I've got no shields or anything, and gankers show up.
Yeah, 2 FDLs, a cutter, and some other ship that I didn't scan.
I have 10% hull. I got away from them 3 times. And the first time, they got 7% of that hull because I thought it was somebody in our group fucking with me. And then I realized that they were trying to kill me. I'm like, oh, shit. And I escaped. So I ended up getting away with 3% hull and went and landed. And then grabbed another ship. And then me and Adaxius went back into the system to mess with these gankers, right? and we're
Yeah.
talking
Oh yeah.
shit.
And I went to bed. What did you guys? How'd that turn out?
We go back, and me and Adax are flying around. They're talking shit to us, and we're talking back. And finally, we're like, "Well, let's just meet at this station then," because they kept wanting to wing together and never wing with the gankers, because then they can drop right on your signal all together at the same time.
That's the trick they play.
Exactly. So you don't do that. But then we went to the other station that didn't have the Thargoid stuff. And it's like, well, meet us here to fight. And we could not wing together. They kept claiming that we were in solo. And so then finally made friends with them, but didn't wing with them. And we still could not instance with these gankers in order for us to just, fuck around and have some fighting fun.
They can introduce you from space, but they can't instance with you in a station.
Well, no, but then none of us saw each other in system together. We are all in open, all four of those idiots, and me and Adaxius are flying around in system, and I see Adaxius. We don't see them, and they don't see us, but we're all talking in chat. So they kept accusing us of being in solo. So then we have to be like, no, we're in open, and make friends with them so that they can see that where we are and that we're in open. And we couldn't even have some just PvP fun. I was looking forward to blowing these idiots up because they weren't good, but it was funny that we couldn't do that. But that was just another little frustration. This multiplayer game, we could not multiplayer combat because we couldn't find each other. Even when we told them where we were going, and then they went there, and it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it's always so frustrating how hard it is sometimes. Like, why does this multiplayer game hate putting people in the same instance?
Yeah, trying to play the game.
Shouldn't it default to putting us in the same place with anybody it possibly can? Considering, like, we're in this system, there can't be more than a few other commanders that are actually present there at the time. It's just, there was no chatter. It wasn't like one of these big systems where there's tons of people. I saw one other person posting in chat earlier in the night. There was probably less than 10 people in that particular system in the game at the time. Why wouldn't it put them all in the same instance?
Yeah. And we tried. Like I said, you get system chat where people are talking shit to each other. I don't even remember what the hell the name of their god, All Praise Bitcoin or something. I don't remember what it actually was. It was bit something, and they kept doing this.
So were they like role playing?
It was some kind of RPing thing. They were praising some god, and it was bit something. It wasn't Bitcoin, but it was something like that. And they kept doing this weird taunt involving this god that they were praising, and whatever, that's
so
fine.
Weird.
You tried to kill me, I got away. Now I went and grabbed a real ship, and we can't instance. It was painful. And by a real ship, I grabbed my my multitask ship that I run around doing all kinds of shit with. Lark would be happy. It had an SUV bay in it, so I was ready.
Well, these are. Just to set the stage a little bit, because I don't think we actually said this, but in case it wasn't clear, we were playing in a Thargoid invasion system. That's where a wing of 4 gankers showed up with human weapons to fight humans. So, I mean, whatever, you're allowed to do whatever you want in the game, but these guys are the bottom feeders.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the worst of the worst, because they go to a place where they know people are fighting Thargoids, which means we all have Guardian weapons, which means it's all pretty much pure thermal damage. So I know that their ships are all based, engineered for pure thermal resistance.
Yep. Yeah, if we tried fighting them in our Thargoid ships, we'd have less than zero chance. Literally,
and
we're
that's what they
target
came
practice,
for.
And that's what they came for.
It makes me wonder, if they knew that you'd switch to proper ships, maybe they were the ones in solo.
Yeah, maybe they blocked me, and then we couldn't link, and then they were talking mad shit. It's possible. I have no idea, but it was really kind of frustrating and dumb either way. When you got the juvenile shit talkers, and you can't even play with them, but it is what it is. But I don't know. What else we got? I tried buckyball racing.
Yes. Tell me about buckyball racing. Never tried it still.
These guys are crazy. It gives you a whole new outlook on, we all try to get through Super Cruise as fast as possible and then docking, relatively quickly. And this buckyball race involves, there's 5 systems involved, and you take off from the one system, you go to another system. You can go to the other systems in any order you want. So that's part of the trick, is figuring out the best route to fly from the system you start at, hit the other 4 systems, and end back at the system you started at. And it's 5, starports you're flying into. And when you get near the mail slot to where you can see, the blue of the mail slot, and you request docking, then you got to fly the length of the starport. It's not, your typical Coriolis.
You fly around the back.
Yeah, it's not your typical Coriolis. It's those longer ones, with the pod on the front and then, a ring on them. And you got to fly around the back of the station, then back to the front of the station and dock. So every system, you just have to do that. And you go to each system, then you go back to the first system, and you got to do the loop at the last system, and then land, and then you record it. So then you get your starting time, your finish time, and there's the regulation, which is a Cobra that they've got to certain specs. You have to have this exact Cobra build, or there's an unlimited where there's a handful of different ships you can do that you can build pretty much however you want. This time, in this case, it's the Imperial ships like the I Eagle, and upward from there, into your Clipper and Cutter and Courier, all that stuff, not in that order. And I was just doing the regulation because I wasn't going to take the time to try to build a specific ship. So I built the regulation Cobra. A couple things. I've never flown a Cobra, believe it or not, until I decided to do this. So that was interesting. Second, I haven't flown an unengineered ship, and
it's rough. Right?
I have no idea. Yeah, so that was doing that loop around the ship where my max boost is like 414 or something like that, and I'm doing that loop around, and it just seems like it takes fucking ever.
You can't perma boost.
And the clock is ticking, and then figuring out as you go around the end how to boost and come back. And I fly FA off, so it's just, it is what it is, and it was a lot of fun. And like my very first run doing it, like the bottom time was like 36 minutes, and I managed to score less than that. I was like 34 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm going again. And the way that I would come into these stations, you'd want to try to come in so that you're facing the mail slot. So, you can kind of set that up in Super Cruise. My first run, I didn't even really try all that much to do that. I was just trying to get a feel for it. So I'm like, I'm going to knock, 5 minutes off this time easy, because I'm going to pay attention to that as I come around. Well, that extra time in Super Cruise, I knocked like a minute off my time. I'm like, I got to try to adjust towards the end of that Super Cruise. And I'm sure Alec Turner's listening to this, and he's like, no, you idiot, you do it like this, and, everything else, because his time is ridiculous. So I get a second run, and I thought I was going to have a way better time. I knocked like a minute off of it. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? So then the next time I'm like, I'm going to try to just at the end get in position, when you get like in that 1 mm, and then try to get towards the front of it and drop out just in the right spot. And I got a time just under 30 minutes, which I thought was pretty good. And then I'm like, okay, if I did that, I bet you I can do better. And then I was doing one more run, and then like at the mail slot, also like a cutter was coming out at one point, and I smacked into it real good and spun around, and everything was just chaotic. I managed to not die, but I lost so much time on that I kind of abandoned that run. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning and try one more run. The next run, I freaking not paying attention and had a loop of shame, and also that's adding seconds. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to quit right here. And then I went and looked at the leaderboard, and I'm like, I'm not even going to submit my time. I'm going to get myself a top 5 before I submit. So I'm going to make some more runs when I find some time, because it is a different kind of skill, and it's outside of my normal wheelhouse. It's literally just trying to do like something you've done in this game, thousands of times, just doing it better than you've ever done it, and doing it again and again, and finding ways to shave seconds off. It is super cool. And Alec, I like what this is, and I like that there's a community doing this. And I think, as something I would recommend anybody, at the minimum, just go look. I think there's a link in our events channel. Just go give it a run. You can build this Cobra for, I don't know, a couple million
Alec
credits
posted,
probably.
Alec posted a station where he was pretty sure you could buy all the components needed at the one place.
Yeah, and
if you don't have access to Jameson.
Exactly. And you can go build the ship there, build the whole ship, and go give it a run, because all of a sudden you will realize, especially when you end up seeing like Alec Turner's time is like 25 minutes and 4 seconds or something. And that is, I have so much respect for that time, because I really felt like my second run where I was at 34 minutes, I thought I nailed, and it was like, holy crap, I suck. And then figured out ways to just shave some time off. I don't think if I did it 50 more times, I'd come near Alec's time. It's mad respect, but I will get better. That 51st attempt, I will crush him, crush him. But let's not talk about that. But I'm telling you, if you haven't done it, just do one. The whole loop, like I said, 35 minutes. Give yourself. Let's say you're really new at the game and it takes you 45 minutes, 50 minutes. It's less than an hour of your life to go try this activity, and you will see it'll give you a whole new perspective on both Super Cruise and how you come into the stations, and just docking in general when you're trying to do it as fast as possible. Especially a lot of people use docking computers and stuff. This will really but I mean, like, one of the stations, you know how sometimes when you're in FA off and you're trying to land and it keeps kicking you, you're landing perfect and it kind of kicks you.
Oh, yeah.
One of the 5 stations does that to me every time when I'm trying to land that Cobra. It just kind of kicks me. And I thought that it was because it was like
all the
fourth
stations?
station. I thought it was because I was getting anxious because it was, I'm to the 4th of the 5th places you got to go, that I was getting anxious and everything else. But then when I changed the order of the stations I went to, it was the same station that did that to me. So it was kind of weird, and I want to kind of experiment with that a little bit more. But my limited play time, I didn't have time to go and retest that. But it was that same station that did that to me, where it's that you're like, okay, I'm coming down perfect, and all of a sudden it kind of kicks it. God damn it! Then you go to land again, and it kicks you again. It's
you go
just
like
frustrating.
down spin.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
So that is interesting, because like I experience that on the regular whenever I land at a spinning station, because I always have the flight assist off, and I've never paid attention to, like, sometimes I nail it the first time. Yep. Sometimes it kicks me 2 or 3 times before I get it right. And I'm always so frustrated. Like, why is this so hard? Because it happened during some update and they just never fixed it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now it's like, so certain stations are worse about it. That's what I'm wondering. Just complicates the whole thing even more.
Because they were
I've
the
never
same
paid attention to
design station. Maybe it was the pad. Maybe I got the same pad both times. I don't know, but it was.
Or maybe it's. Well, no, because you said, are these all?
They're all the same kind of design, same basic design with the. I don't remember the name.
So
I know the
Coriolis
station. No, it's not the station type. It's the ones with the.
So Coriolis, there's Ocellus, and there's another one. I can't remember what the other one's called.
Yeah, these are.
I think Ocellus is the one where it's like a ball, and then the other type is. Actually, I don't know if I have which one Ocellus is right, but one of them has a ball, and one of them is a little bit more of a.
One of them has like an IG-88 head on the front,
right,
and the other ones,
more spherical.
Yes, and these are all the IG-88 type head ones. So maybe one of them was. Now I'm questioning my own reality because I don't remember for sure. All I know is all of them were long.
If it's the same station, it's only federal stations that kick you on the landing pad, maybe. Because these were all Alliance, right?
Yeah, these are all Imperial. Yeah, these are all Imperial stations.
Okay, because I was trying to think, like, it happens all the time to me, and we're mostly federal in our part of space.
And I think whoever put this together, Sulu, maybe whoever put together this race, I believe all the stations have the same kind of factions on them. So if you clip somebody trying to leave the mail slot real quick, like I did a couple times, kind of brush somebody, but you pick up the fine. Then when I got to the next station, I was able to pay off the fine. So, it's a reckless flying fine. You'll pick up a couple of those if you're, getting the hell out of station as fast as you possibly can. So, but it's fun. I mean, honestly, buckyball racing, check it out, people. It's a nice twist on just a very common activity that we do.
Sweet. Hey, good review, bro.
Hey, thanks, bro.
Yeah. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Chig Chat was a bunch of gibberish this week, but
there's going to be a stream on Thursday. streams are back.
Oh, sweet.
There's going to be a developer guest, and there's the text of the announcement made some hint that there might be some kind of small sneak peek with regards to what happens in update 15. So maybe an interesting one.
So a hint that there might be a hint of an announcement that might be announced. Is that what I
True to form.
Yeah, very true to form. Very true to form. But I want to put out an invite on Chig Chat. Random thing. I want to see how many people are listening. And this is also an invite if new players, we've already told new players that it's great to come to the Discord and everything else. I'm literally just going to say this. I'm going to give away 1 billion credits to anybody in Chig Chat who gives me the best reason why I should give them 1 billion credits. And there doesn't necessarily have to be one winner. It can be multiple, but give me a damn good reason why you need 1 billion credits, and I'll probably give you. I realized the other day that I just have so many credits, it's just pointless. Like I bought like 500 meta alloys just to have them. You know, I set up a buy order at like maximum.
You're like diving into the bathtub full of gold coins, except it's meta alloys.
Yeah, meta alloys and Thargoid hearts. I've got an Olympic-sized swimming pool full of both of those because I've got over 1,000 Thargoid hearts right now too. That I just
boy, that is some caustic swimming pool.
I know, right? I want to know where those are stored on my carrier. You'd think like if you actually disembark and you walk like into my carrier, everything would be glowing, you know?
Do you go insane? Have you seen what happens like when Alex puts the sensors and stuff near characters, right? When they're on foot, they start acting all crazy and waving their arms around and shit.
Do they? I haven't seen that. No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Go to Alex's YouTube channel because he does weird stuff and puts sensors next to. He like did an assassination once by just having a sensor in his SRV or a probe, or I don't know what it was, one of those things, and then just ejected it right next to the person he was supposed to kill, and they just eventually died from it.
What? That's
they
so
like
awesome.
freaked out and flailed.
He's taking him into the bar area.
Yeah,
I've heard of him
and
doing
people
that. I've never.
They look
seen
like
it.
they're dancing because they flail their shit around.
Alec, you're the best.
I don't know why they do that. I mean, I guess is it because they're like crazy? They make people insane? Are they doing something biologically to people's like nervous systems?
If I had any faith that this game, if there weren't so many bugs in this game, if I had faith that everything was intentional, I would read into it and I'd run experiments and I'd, try different stuff. But almost any time that something weird like that happens, I just assume it's a bug.
I know, it's so sad.
I know. Makes me sad. Sad panda.
Sad panda is sad.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, 1 billion credits to anybody who gives me a good reason why they should have it.
All right, make your case. We should have like a maximum word count, I think, for what their case is, how they're allowed to make their case.
I don't know. Nah, why not? Why? Maybe my criteria is the most words will win. Or maybe it's the fewest words will win. I don't know.
Whatever fits into a single Discord message. So
no, you can do multiple messages. I'm fine with that.
Oh, God damn it. We were so close.
My criteria is, it's like FDev. There may be a reason I'm judging it the way that I am, or there may not. You have to decide.
We don't want to spoil that gameplay for you by explaining it outright.
But I have a plan, or I don't.
Maybe the plan is to not have a plan.
Maybe.
Did you ever think of that?
Maybe. But as we all know, if you don't like it, so.
Yep. You know the rest.
Yep.
Speaking of, I guess we should, if there are no other topics, we've actually made a very long episode out of this episode.
Yeah, yeah.
We talked a lot.
So if there are no protests, I guess we should just say that the cheese for the week is whatever cheese you put on your apple pie. And Buckyball is
win.
Still happening because it did win and it didn't not win. And that is true and it isn't not true.
And that is both true and not true.
Movies, I don't know,
those
man.
were last week. I think we covered those.
Yeah, no, nobody adjusted the notes.
But
the only thing I did was write down that there was there's a new Evil Dead.
Yet another remake of Evil Dead is coming out this week.
Starring whom?
Fuck, fine.
Some lady.
Yeah, but probably some people being
Oh.
like, I don't know. There's probably gonna be a lot of blood and a lot of creepiness, and yeah, the trailer looks good. Oh,
Okay.
and I'm excited for a Star Wars series in a long time. That Osaka, what the fuck is her name?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
I think I never watched the cartoon, but I think it's Ahsoka.
Yeah, Grand Admiral Thrawn's in it. Jesus Christ, I'm so
Yeah.
pumped for it. I can't believe it. I might actually watch season 3 of The Mandalorian just so I'm like caught up on Star Wars crap.
I'll probably catch up. I have liked The Mandalorian. I know you complained about it. I've liked that one.
It's
I probably
entertaining.
watch those.
Yeah, it's entertaining. But that I am super excited for, and that's coming out when? I have no idea.
I don't know.
33,
I'm
12
sure
or
my
something.
Apple TV will start sending alerts to my phone when it comes out, so I'm not worried about it.
All right. That's all that matters. As long as your phone's
Yeah.
giving you alerts.
As long as my phone alerts me.
Well, you're going to
Damn
get ByteDance alerts all the time now, I'm sure.
Nope. Hey, secret tip, everybody. Not so secret tip. You can just make Gmail accounts for stuff. Like, don't worry about it.
What?
Yeah. They're free, turns out. So
Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're breaking
just
the matrix.
buy the thing and then delete your credit card information out of their shit. Like, anyway, it's not
Crazy.
that hard. It's not that hard to
That's
live
what
in the
she
world.
said.
Well,
Wait, what?
that.
Shocked.
Yep. Any other business?
Robot Teflon, talk us out. Now we wait about 45 seconds.
While he switches around his audio devices. Nah, that's fine.
All right.
You know what? This paragraph's getting a little stale anyway, right? I should remix it.
Yeah. Get us a
We
revamp.
have a merch store. We have a Patreon. We have a Discord.
We have a
That's it.
website that links to all of those, doesn't it?
We have a website, that basically just serves to link to that stuff.
loosescrewsed.com.
Loose Screws. Yeah. Well, I hope this was fun, and I'm sorry I talked so long about a VR headset, but I don't know. People usually when we do things like that, and I feel like we've just like blabbed about computer hardware for ages, and then people are like, you should do another computer hardware episode. I'm like, oh my God, really?
It's the passion. People like the passion.
Yep.
Well-
I'm shocked by it, but I'm trying to come to terms with it.
Well, we need to do a hardware episode at some point. We kept saying when the new graphics cards came out, and now they've been out for a while.
We don't. So here's the thing. We thought we were going to need to do a hardware episode. Here's the thing. The Intel GPUs are not really ready for prime time. If you don't know the details of it already because you're not already a hardware enthusiast, you shouldn't go buy an Intel Arc card because they require extra TLC to get them working. They're a pretty good value if you're willing to put in a little extra work. But if you're a beginner and you're asking our advice, it's not for you.
Nope, exactly.
And other than that, the market is such that graphics cards, it's basically a duopoly. The prices aren't coming down because they don't have to bring them down. They're going to keep the sort of perceived value.
Wait a minute. When did
what
Jello
they think.
Wiggler get here? What is happening?
No. See, actually, he and I argue about this. Like some of our opinions are the same, but he has a different take about it. Like he thinks something's going to change next time or something, which is I disagree with it. This is the way it is. It is cost per frame has stayed the same for like the last 3 years. They make faster cards, but they cost equally more. So pick your dollar amount and just go buy a graphics card. If you're in the market for one, that's how you decide how much graphics card you need. It is how many dollars you want to spend, because that's what it is. If a card costs $1,000 and another card costs $2,000, the second one is twice as fast. And the only time that's not true is for that 4090, the actual $2,000 graphics card.
The last step up the ladder is
exactly
exponentially higher.
And that one is actually the best value cost per frame.
I know.
But you have to pay MSRP $1,600 and none of them are available for that. So you have to pay like $2,200 for it. So and that's the thing. And I think that's how they're going to keep it, because for a decade before that, the top product was only 5 or maybe 10% better, and it costs almost twice as much. It was a weird halo thing. There was no proper market for it, and it didn't have good value. Now they've flipped it. They made their best thing, and they segmented their product line so that the second best is significantly slower. And then they changed all their pricing, so there's absolutely no reason to even worry about it, frankly. And NVIDIA still has better bells and whistles than AMD, and AMD still has little bits of driver problems now and then, and it's a little shakier. But that's the thing. So you pay a little bit more for NVIDIA cards and a little bit less for AMD cards at the same raw performance, and then you get, better encoding and DLSS and stuff on the and ray tracing on the NVIDIA cards. It's better. That's it. That's the whole thing. See, it didn't need a whole episode.
Wow. I thought
decide how much money you want to spend.
You just said how
and buy
much
the
everybody
card.
loves our hardware episodes, and you just did a TLDL episode. Too long, didn't listen.
Because that's the thing.
Don't listen.
We keep talking about it, and people are like, when are you going to do a hardware episode? I'm not, because, and that's why, because there's nothing to explain. And they did it on purpose. They are perfectly happy because they're continuing to just make money, and it's not as fast as it was when there was a big GPU bubble, but they're not going to allow those values to come down, because then they would have to go through all that work of working our assumptions of what a graphics card should cost. They would have to work those back up into the sky again afterwards. So they're not going to let it go.
Honestly, some of this, though, could just be the fact everything is more expensive right now. I know GPUs are
a little bit, but
more expensive.
Even when you calculate for inflation, you're still they're still costing more than they used to for the same product here.
Let's say they cost double. Look at motherboards right now compared to what they used to be. They're double, triple what they used to be.
That's the same thing, because the AMD switched their socket, and suddenly they went LGA. They instead of going pins on the chip, they moved the pins to the motherboard. And all the news was, and technically that makes the motherboard a little bit more expensive, because that's the more expensive part. And the motherboard manufacturers were like, okay, well, everybody accepts that these are more expensive, so we're going to go ahead and ride that. And they're just super expensive. They're filled with RGB nonsense and heat sinks that are unnecessarily overbuilt. And there aren't any motherboards that don't include those features. And when they do strip those features off from to make it cheaper, they also strip away all the features you actually want. So that there'll be no need for them to manufacture more than a very small number of them, just so that they can say the product is out there. And they're going to leave the price high. They make more margin if the price is high. They're not going to turn their back on that. Why would they? Unless people stop buying them. So that's the thing. And Intel's not going to shift the market. They're not there yet. They're years and years away. If you're buying in the low range of graphics cards, then Intel has enough power for it, but they're still young, and they're not competing. NVIDIA's not even competing in that product segment. They're not releasing, and well, I don't know. Like 4070 should have been a mid-range card, and it's not priced like one. They're just not competing in the low range. They don't care, because there's less margin there.
Very true.
Also, they seem to hate their board partners, and EVGA got out of the business.
I know.
At precisely the right time.
That's sad.
And I mourn them, because they're my favorite, and I've had all EVGA cards forever. But but I don't blame them a bit. And for a little history lesson, the same thing happened to 3DFX. Well, I'm sorry, I should say 3DFX did a similar thing, where they had board partners and they were dominating the market. And this was a long, long time ago, when the very first 3D cards were being made, and it was like a brand new thing. And the original Quake came out and stuff. And at a certain point, they sort of fucked over their board partners. They bought one of them, and then basically were releasing their own cards, and were sort of price competing with what was previously their partner manufacturers. And everybody turned their back on them, and they went out of business almost instantly.
Well, folks, that was our hardware episode. And
join our Discord.
Join our Discord.
Oh my God, how long have we been recording now?
I don't know.
Hour
3-4
and 40
hours.
almost?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
No,
All
7,
right.
8,
Sorry,
yeah.
everybody.
Thanks for showing up, Data, by the way.
You know what? Oh, yeah. Good to talk to you again. How's the kiddo doing? We never ask you that.
Doing great. Getting
Still
big,
alive.
smiling all the time. Oh yeah, we got that part down.
It's almost
Awesome.
it's almost out of being a metric for lawnmower power. Once it's no longer a baby, we can move on. Right now, it's at risk, so protect
They grow
that
up so
child.
fast. Yeah.
All right. Well, good enough.
Yeah, all right. Let's shut this down. I got to go help my daughter with trigonometry.
Sounds fun. All
No,
right.
it
See you next week, everybody.
SOHCAHTOA.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.